Sasaki rescues Dave Roberts from potentially the biggest mistake of his managerial career. It took a while, but LeBron James once again embraces his inner drama queen. And with a disastrous offseason complete, do the Kings suck? And if so, how much do they suck? Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It's October 7th, 2025. I am back in mini scrotum for work. And yes, I am in a public park. There are no children. There's no need to call the police on me. I know what I look like. Now, if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, an expanded look at the scoreboard like we're going to do during the Dodger playoff run. Dodgers 4, Phillies 3. The Dodgers have a 2-0 lead in the best-of-5 National League Divisional Series. They are 9 wins away from repeating. They're on a 9-game winning streak. A scoreless duel for 6 innings appeared to become a sure thing for LA when the Dodgers dropped 4 on the bitter Phillies in the 7th. Only Dave Roberts, after an entire season of watching that bullpen just start one wildfire after another, gave them yet another tank of gas at a match. If you recall, the bullpen was rebuilt for the playoffs with starters who didn't have the pedigree to stay in a 3-man playoff rotation. So Roberts looked at it, including Hall of Famers, and was like, nah, let's give him another chance. So he brings in Blake Treinen and Alex Vesia to get the final 3 outs, and everybody broke out the marshmallows because the fire was only beginning. They allowed line drives, a series of line drives all over Citizens Bank Park. Philly pulled to within a run while somebody was slapping Dave Roberts around like he was Billy Bob Thornton in Tombstone. Treinen, and let's be real, Treinen was nails in last year's title run. He faces 3 batters, he gives up 3 hits and 2 runs. The score was 4-3. There's a runner on second base. Now Vesia did get 2 outs. But one of those outs was not him. It was more the genius defense of Mookie Betts, who wisely covered third base on a bunt and tagged the lead runner. So, said Roberts after the game, quote, I thought about it. He hasn't gone 2 of 3 much at all. Just figuring the run right there. Blake's pitched some of the biggest innings in the postseason for us and felt really confident right there. And with Vesia behind him if needed. So I didn't want to just kind of preemptively put him in there. Again, I felt good with who we had with a couple of our highest leverage relievers, unquote. Now, if you saw yesterday's update, you know I was talking about how despite all of those wins, Roberts has his detractors. Decisions like the ones he was making last night are why he has detractors. So memo to Dave Roberts, I like you. I really do. But the next time you feel confident, don't feel confident. Put it this way, I don't spend a lot of time second-guessing managers or coaches because they know the game better than I do, and I study the game a lot. But when you make a mistake like that, one none of us would ever make, one that is so obvious. Anyway, former starter Sasaki gets the final out. It's his 3rd save in his many opportunities in the playoffs. The Dodgers have the Phillies on the brink of elimination. Blake Snell was magnificent for 6 innings. Will Smith drove in 2 of the Dodgers' winning runs. Game 3 is set for Dodger Stadium on Wednesday. And by the way, teams that take a 2-0 lead in a best-of-5 postseason series have won 80 of 90 times, and that includes 54 sweeps. Also, Kansas City 1, Angel City FC 0. Angel City is on the brink of being eliminated from the NWSL playoff chase, which would be the 3rd time in their 4 years of existence. As for tonight, Colorado is at the Kings at 7:30. We are going to talk more about the Kings in just a moment. What do you say we get to the news? It was only a matter of time. Only a matter of time before LeBron James made it all about himself. You knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. Oh, sure. At Lakers Media Day, all the sounds that came out of his face hole sounded like birdsong. Hey, is that a nightingale or is that LeBron James? I can't tell. It's just so beautiful. So happy. And yesterday he posted a clip that looked pretty damn similar to The Decision back in 2010. You know, basketball gym, couple of chairs at the free throw line, random scribe sitting in one, James wearing a shirt that looks like a picnic table back when he stabbed Cleveland in the back. It was even hashtagged the second decision. So that clip, this second decision, is coming out today. Maybe he announces he's going to retire. Maybe he's going to be like, screw LA, I want out. But I will tell you this, no matter what this second decision is, I'm having a hard time believing that Laker fans are going to be so angry that they burned LeBron's jerseys in the streets like the Cavaliers fans did. We are Angelenos. We do not burn jerseys. We burn police cars. Anyway, the second decision is going to be released today, and maybe I've just flown one too many red-eye flights over the last couple of years, but I just can't generate the energy needed to care. I can't. NHL season opens, and we have often discussed how winning the offseason in any sport doesn't carry over into real life. Just look at the Slime Diego Padres to validate that. They keep winning off seasons, trade deadlines, still have no rings. But here's the thing. What happens when you lose an off season? What happens when you don't get the A+, but you get the F-? When the people reviewing your off season want to go further down the alphabet, what happens then? Because you look at the Kings, they went into the off season, they had all the cap space they could ever want. You look at the roster, you think you're about a player away. You have an aging core that would love one last shot at a Stanley Cup. And you have only one person on the entire roster that you absolutely must keep, the must-have. So, new Kings general manager Ken Holland fumbled more than Kyron Williams at the goal line. He lost the team's best defenseman in Vladislav Gavrikov, replaced him with some randos that reportedly can't skate, kind of important in hockey, nor did he add any big scoring to an offense that has 2 scorers. So, aging veterans and a now weaker defense, does the rug get pulled out and we all start begging Rob Blake to come back? I don't know. The good news is that even though they are unlikely to match last year's franchise record 105-point team, I think there's enough to squeak back into the playoffs. Squeak back in. Maybe. Calgary, for example, they finished 4th in the Pacific. They had 96 points. Kings 105, Calgary 96. So unless the Flames break out, you have a little bit of leeway there, for example. There are reasons to have faith that the bottom will not collapse. For example, if you believe center depth is critical in hockey, the Kings are your team. If you believe that everybody needs to contribute to the whole, the Kings are your team. While the stories are about franchise legend Anze Kopitar's last season, the season could actually rest on any number of questions. For example, whether heir apparent Quinton Byfield actually finally centers the top line. Philip Deneau, by the way, a dependable third line center, with a surprisingly effective Warren Foegele as his running mate on the third line. So, what am I saying? If you believe center depth is good, you've got 3 damn good ones right there in Kopitar, Byfield, and Deneau. And there's there's at least one scorer on each line. Now, the Kings' offense generates a lot of chances. The problem is most of the rest of the team are lousy shots outside of Adrian Kempe and Kevin Fiala. So most lineup models for the preseason have paired Kopitar with Kempe, Byfield and Fiala, Deneau and Foegele. Andrei Kuzmenko was a nice add at the trade deadline last year. He's going to be on the top line. And he's also playing for a bigger contract, so he knows he has to produce. But again, there are so many wild cards that you can choose. Does Byfield take over on the top line? What about Fiala? Blake sent a lot to Minnesota to acquire Fiala a couple of years ago. Reviews are mixed. There's an NHL exec that says Fiala can single-handedly take over a game. Then there's another exec that says, okay, fine, but he's so inconsistent that you can't put him on the top line. You don't trust him enough. Meanwhile, the defense took this gruesome hit when Gavrikov stopped returning Holland's calls and left. The Kings have to pray that Drew Doughty can still play more than 20 minutes per game with Mikey Anderson. But after that, this is where things could spiral. This is where the Kings are weak. Because how did goaltender Darcy Kemper experience a resurgence last year? Part of it was because of a fundamentally sound defense with Gavrikov. They played so responsible that it wasn't just whether Kemper could revive his career. Cam Talbot revived his career, Eunice Korpisalo, even Felix Copley. So yeah, the fact that the defense is weaker now is a thing. And then you have potential distractions to the team. Adrian Kempe, free agent at the end of the year. Is he a $10 million a year player? That matters. Because if he is, you're taking the money that you would save from Kopar's retirement and saving zero of it. It all would go to Kempe. With 139 goals over the last 4 years, Kempe is clearly underpaid at $5.5 million a year. I get that. The dude is matching Sidney Crosby in terms of goals. But do you double it? Because 35 goals is damn good, but you could also argue he's hit his peak. And by the way, the fact that this team mostly can't skate doesn't bode well for what they face. Wait for it, Edmonton. Even I couldn't wait for it. Nor is it going to help a lot against Vegas. So the idea that they're going to compete for the division title, I doubt it. Because you're replacing Gavrikov with Ryan Dumoulin and Cody Ceci as the final defensive pair? What was the front office thinking? Adding career nemesis Corey Perry, who now has a bum knee. What was the front office thinking? I'll tell you what I'm thinking. The Kings aren't contenders, guys. Probably a playoff qualifier. But just a few months ago, they were the so-called one player away. Now they're hanging by a thread. And that's your Kings preview. Like when a stripper finally admits that she didn't really like you. Thanks for paying the rent, you're so sweet. There are moments, fleeting moments, when you get the truth. From deja vu, and yes, from the LA Chargers front office, the coaching staff. They finally were candid about injured players to simps like us. Yesterday, Jim Harbaugh admitted Omarion Hampton was placed on injured reserve. He's out at least a month after turning an ankle during Sunday's loss to Washington. The first-round pick out of North Carolina entered Week 5 with the most scrimmage yards among all rookies, 380. That is not going to last at all. So the Bolts now, they've lost their top two running backs. Their starter, if things hold as is going to be Hassan Haskins, who has just 195 career rushing yards, guys. Averages 3 yards a carry. Then you're looking at Cavani Vidal on the depth chart, who is activated from the practice squad. Then you have another rookie, Amar Johnson, on the practice squad. This is a big problem. The entire offense, every bit of it now, rests on Justin Herbert. But since he entered the league, this is not a stat I looked up, somebody else did. He's been hit more than any other quarterback in the NFL. 525 times. Sitting duck behind an offensive line that we've been describing there's nothing good on that offensive line right now. As for finding a replacement for Hampton, Gus Edwards was on the team last year. He's still a free agent. For the Rams, I apologize for the background noise. Omar Speights is doubtful for next weekend's game at Baltimore because of a high ankle sprain. I would assume that means Troy Reeder gets the promotion back to the starting lineup next week. But let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about the Dodgers 2-0 lead. Confident about the NLCS, or are you like, Dave, don't kill us now? And for that matter, what about the Kings' upcoming season? What about LeBron James's second decision? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day, every single place. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.